Okay, thank you. All right. Now let me get those slides going. Okay. So, welcome everybody to this orientation session for Theories in Career Development, one of my favorite courses to teach. I'm Diane Moore, and I will be your professor throughout this course. This is the only course I'm teaching at George Brown this semester. I am also teaching two courses in the CDP program at Fanshawe College. So, it's going to be a busy semester for me and for you. Our agenda, I'll go through what we're going to cover in just a moment, but I want to just mention that, as you've already heard, the session is being recorded and it will be posted on YouTube only for viewing by our students. When I post videos like this where other students are appearing and comments are being recorded, I post them as unlisted. So this means that only students who are given the link can view it. So to protect the privacy of everybody in the room, only the people who are in the room or who are in our program can access that link. And so for that reason, I ask you to please not share the links to these videos with anyone outside the program. You'll see my lecture videos are all public, so anybody can look at those. But any videos that have students appearing on them, I always make those unlisted. So this is our agenda for this evening. In just a moment, we're going to do a little bit of a warm-up activity because this is your very first gathering as a cohort, as a group. This is the first time that, other than orientation, that you're actually getting together with your classmates. So I wanted to start off with a little bit of a warm-up activity. You'll be doing lots of those in your other classes this week that are going to be meeting weekly, getting to know each other and doing some activities that kind of break the ice. I'm going to do a couple of quick polls before we start with the content. Then I'm going to give you an overview of taking online courses, some tips for success. I will then touch on the very unpleasant topic of plagiarism. We did discuss this in the orientation the other day for the whole program, but it is important, and you'll probably hear each of your professors address it in your courses in each class this week. Then I'll give you a brief review of the theories course, an overview of what it's about, and I will talk about the assignments, give you a little bit of a snapshot of what you're going to be doing for each of those assignments. I'm not going to tell you all of them in depth because it's just too much information to take in for the first evening. And I'd like to invite you to stop me at any time in the session if you have any questions. It's helpful for me if you can use the raise your hand button to let me know if you have a question. I don't always remember to check the chat. When I have my slides up on the screen, I can't see that there is a comment in the chat, but I will try to remember to check in on that as frequently as I can. So we're going to start with just a small group activity, and I'm going to put you into small groups in just a moment. So in your breakout rooms, I'm going to ask you to discuss the following. You'll be in groups of probably 3 or 4. Introduce yourself to the others in this small group. And then just talk a little bit about what led you to choose this program. So, why did you pick CDP? Why did you decide to come back to school or continue your education in this program? And I just ask that you keep your comments somewhat brief. I'll be allowing 10 minutes for discussion. And if you're in a group of 4, that would be 2 minutes each with a little bit of extra time. So do try to keep your comments brief and ensure that everyone gets a chance to share. And everyone should stay in listening mode. So this is not an opportunity to talk about your common experiences in Europe or a trip that you both have taken, that several people may have shared some common experiences. Just listen to each person's little description of what brought them to the program, and mainly just breaking the ice, starting to get to know each other, because you will be looking very closely, working very closely together throughout the semester. When you're in your breakout rooms, I will send a message to you when it's time to come back to the large group. If you happen to get done your discussion a bit early and feel like you're running out of things to chat about, feel free to come back to the large group at that point. So let me just stop the share, and I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. How many people have we got? We've got 10 people. Okay. So not including me. Let's do one group of four and two groups of three. And I'll just assign you to the rooms automatically since you haven't really met each other. I try to, if I get to know the students and people get to know each other, try to mix them up a little bit as the semester goes on, but you haven't met each other really up at this point. So, okay. So you should see the rooms opening up on the screen, and you should see your name listed for one of those rooms, and there should be a blue button to join the room. So please go to the room that you are assigned to and just briefly introduce yourself and just tell a little bit about what brought you to the program. And I'll let you know when time is just about up. Again, she's so perky, isn't she? Okay, well, I hope you had a chance to kind of break the ice a little bit and start getting to know each other. I'd like to ask you just to pop into the chat one or two words that describe how you're feeling right now about starting the program. You know, basically, this is your first day of the first semester of your year-long journey, and this is your first time meeting some of your classmates. So just pop into the chat a word or two that describes how you're feeling right now as you start. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you terrified? There's no wrong answers. Take a moment and just share a word or two or a little emoticon as Jessica has. Excited and curious, nervous and anxious, excited and nervous, excited but apprehensive, excited and anxious. I'm detecting a theme here. Yeah, so those are all pretty natural things to feel. Michelle, you said same as Deanna, happy to be here, feeling pressure to learn and do well. Yeah, so it's natural to feel that kind of mix of feelings as you get started. And I think you'll find as you get to the end of the week and then the next week and the week after, you'll find within a couple of weeks that you do start to settle in. And for some of you, maybe you've been out of school for a really long time and it's just going to take a little while for you to, kind of get acclimated. But please know that all of us as faculty are here to support you. You will find this program is a little bit different from other educational programs you've maybe taken. We are very invested and very engaged with our students, and you will get to know us very well, and we will get to know you, and you'll get to know each other very well. You'll be like a support group and a network for each other. So just know that, however you're feeling right now is fine. And that anxiety, I hope within a couple of weeks will begin to settle as you get more comfortable with the program and you get to learn D2L and you kind of figure out what you have to do. Okay, let me put my slides back up. Oh, no, pardon me. What I'd like to do now is just a couple of quick polls. So one thing I would like to know from you is whether you have taken an online asynchronous course before. So that means that you've taken a course online like we're doing here, but it was asynchronous, meaning you didn't really have regular class meetings. We're doing what's called an ad hoc session tonight, and we'll have a couple more of those throughout the course, but we won't be meeting every week. So, there'll be gaps in there where you won't see me other than for the weekly message. So let me just launch the first poll. And I'd like to know, have you taken a fully online asynchronous course before? Please go ahead and vote yes or no. Most of you have weighed in. Carmen might not be able to because she's oh, Carmen, did you have to complete the course for it to count? Not necessarily. I'm just looking to see, have you taken something like this before? So it's looking to me based on, it looks like not everybody's had a chance to respond, but I'm going to end the poll there. And it looks like, a good larger proportion of you, about two-thirds of you, have never done a course like this before, where it's fully asynchronous, where you're not actually interacting with the professor. So, that's a good piece of information to know. And I'm going to talk tonight about how you can engage with the course and how you can engage with me, and how we'll be making sure that we do stay connected to each other to some extent throughout the semester. I'd also like to ask those of you who have taken a fully online asynchronous course before, if you could weigh in on what was your experience like. Did you really like it? It was kind of okay, or you just didn't like it at all? So those of you who said yes, you have taken an online asynchronous course, tell me how you felt about it. And I didn't keep track of how many of you said you had, so I'll just give you a minute to respond. So it looks like we got 3 responses. One person really liked it, and a couple of you thought it was kind of okay. And I kind of agree with you. I really prefer, if I'm in a course of any sort, that I have an opportunity to really engage with the instructor, the professor. And that's why I do add the ad hoc sessions in this course. I'm teaching other courses where none of that happens. It's just fully asynchronous. There's students out there somewhere doing my course, and I'm here, trying to put the content online, and I at least do weekly messages so people see my face and hear my voice. But I much prefer this kind of approach, where we at least get a chance to have some personal interaction. And I just want to emphasize that at any point during the course, if you ever want to meet with me individually, please don't ever hesitate to make that request. I'm always happy to meet with students. If you have specific questions about the course, if you just want to chit chat about something, if you think you've got an issue that I might be able to help with, or if you even just want to know about the field and how it's organized. You're going to learn some of that, in your courses like professional practice. But I'm always happy to talk about the field and working as a CDP. I loved doing that work, and I certainly love teaching about it now. So anytime throughout the semester, just please don't ever hesitate to let me know if you would like to chat with me in person or virtually, almost in person, in real time. All right, let me get my slides back up again, and I will begin sharing some of this fascinating content to get you oriented to the theories course. So most of you probably already know that D2L Brightspace is the platform you're going to use, and it's really important that you get to know how to use it thoroughly. You're going to be using it for all of your courses. There are lots of tutorials available to you as a student on how to use it. If you're uncomfortable with the platform, try to get into exploring all of the options. You'll find it's pretty user-friendly and pretty straightforward, and within a couple of weeks, chances are you'll be navigating around all your courses and all your platforms as you get to know it. In my course, as I mentioned, I do a weekly message at the beginning of each week. So you will notice the content when you go into D2L. You'll see all the content organized weeks 1 through 15, and except for week 1, every out of those weeks, every one of those other weeks, I will have a weekly message posted right at the beginning of the week, usually Saturday or Sunday. You're going to use D2L to, of course, view the weekly syllabus outline. So every week, under each week, you'll see a description, a list of things you're going to be doing that will include links to videos and documents you might need to read, and so on. And it will describe what you're going to do for the week. You're going to, on D2L, also read the course outline, and I also provide assignment instruction packages so you can download those documents and read through them. You'll post comments on the discussion boards, which you will be doing in this course. The discussion boards are not graded, but they're an important part of interacting with each other, and that's one of the challenges with an asynchronous course. So you'll see throughout the weeks ahead that there are different discussion boards. You'll be asked to just post a few comments here and there. You'll do readings and watch video lectures. I do try to limit the video lectures to no more than 15 to 20 minutes at most. There will probably be 2 of those most weeks. And that might seem like a little bit of, maybe that's a lot of time to be watching a video from your perspective. But when you think about this is to replace being in class for 2 to 3 hours where we're each week where we're I'm doing a bit of lecturing and we're talking things through. So I do try to keep them as short as I possibly can. You'll try review activities and practice quizzes. You'll see as you go through the course that I do provide some activities to reinforce the concepts. And you'll do practice quizzes as we get closer to the tests. And of course, you will take the tests in the course through D2L. And just to let you know, we are currently up to week 2 in terms of the content, and there'll be more coming very shortly. So by the end of the week, for sure, you should see week 3 and then week 4 coming not long after that. Now, let me just pause for a moment and just see if there are any questions in the chat. No, no hands raised. You have a question, Sonia Lieb?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My question is, yeah, thanks. Are we starting week 1 right now, or are we starting week 2? I know that the materials for week 2 are uploaded, but maybe they're uploaded in advance. Like, was the previous week week 1, or is this week week 1?
This is week 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go and look, you'll see the week 1. You really need to start with the welcome section where I have the welcome video and so on. And then
Yeah.
below that, you'll see week 1. And
Okay.
week 1 will kind of lead you through what you're going to do for the first week. And then when you're finished at the end of this week, you can go on to week 2. If you get ahead, if you
Okay.
get
Great.
week 1 finished by Wednesday, you could certainly go on
Yeah.
to week 2 if you wanted to.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I dovetail that question, please, as well?
Sure.
I
Sure.
I
Go ahead.
wondered, how does George Brown consider each week start? Is it like at is it
I'm
on
not here.
Sundays in the early?
Carmen, sorry, maybe you could put your question in the chat. Your audio
Okay,
seems to be cutting in and out. I don't
I
know if
will.
it's just at my end, but I didn't hear everything that you said. Can you pop that question in the chat? It sounds like you were asking about the start date. Let me just comment while you're putting that in the chat. Do you start the weeks on Sunday or Monday? So the week starts on Monday, right? So our weeks, and I think it says somewhere on one of my slides, our weeks will run from Monday till midnight the following Sunday. Okay, so today we're starting week 1. And we're actually having a bit of a late start. Normally in previous years, I would have expected we started last Monday. And in fact, they opened the platform up early. I didn't realize until orientation on Thursday night that the college had already opened up the course platforms. And normally they don't do that until the first official day of class, which is today. So I took it down for a couple of days just because I thought I have to finish my stuff before you guys start looking at it. So I fixed that all up, but everything should be available to you now. And all of your other courses should be open to you as well. Okay. Mondays, and this is the official first week. That's right, Michelle. Thank you. All right, let me go back to my PowerPoint. And where are we? From current slide. So just asking you to all please use your assigned George Brown Outlook email for all communications with all your professors throughout the academic year. If you send email from something other than a George Brown account, it may get blocked by the server. It's not always the case, but if you're trying to send it from Gmail or Hotmail or something like that, there's a risk the college might flag it. So please use your George Brown Outlook. And when you're emailing me, please only email me at this address. Uh, do not message me through D2L. There is a separate email box in D2L, but I do not check it. Same for instant messaging. I have 4 emails to check, so I really don't want to have to check another one through D2L. So just send me a message uh, to my email address right there. And please do ensure that you check your Outlook inbox regularly. I recommend twice a week so that you don't miss important messages. Maybe you've submitted an assignment file and I open it up to mark it and it's completely empty for some reason. All your data disappeared. So I might need to reach you urgently to fix that. So just make sure that you are plugged into your Outlook and that you do check it on a regular basis. So I've talked already about synchronous versus asynchronous. We will not have regular classes. What we will be having is some ad hoc synchronous meetings like this is to do test prep review for the 2 tests. And usually I bundle into that. There's usually for the midterm tests and for the final test, there's usually an assignment due around that time. So I usually allocate some time to talk about assignments. You'll have plenty of notice about the dates for these sessions. In fact, I think I've already put them up on D2L. Excuse me. These ad hoc sessions are always optional. Okay. So the classes that you have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night are not really optional. You are expected to attend those classes. But the ad hoc sessions, because this is an asynchronous course, they are optional for you. I will always record them so you can watch them after. It's great if you come. I love to see your face and have a chance to talk to you. But don't worry if you really can't make it. You'll be able to watch the video after. All the other activities in the course will be asynchronous, which means you can do them anytime that's convenient. So, for example, there were some weeks that you'll be asked to invited to post comments on a discussion board or, watching video lectures. You can do those anytime in the week that they're designated, but there will still be deadlines for some things. So it's important to understand this is not like years ago we used to have something called distance learning where you could send away for the materials and they'd send it to you and you just kind of do it whenever and send it back. No, we're on a regular course semester schedule and there are things that you will need to do every single week. So just a few tips for not just my course, but also I know Trends is asynchronous, is to work through tasks and materials in the order they're presented. Don't skip anything. So sometimes students might, if they get sick for a week and they just can't catch up on that week's material, they want to just skip ahead and go to the next week. My course and most of the courses are designed to build on each other. So take each week as it comes. If you get behind and it, gets in the way of getting an assignment done or something, just let us know. But it's important that you work through all the material because it does build on each other week by week. Of course, get your technology organized quickly, a computer, a laptop, or a device with a reliable connection. I think that's becoming less and less of an issue for people these days. I believe that the library is still lends out laptops. So if you are pressed for that, you could check with them and see what they have available. I encourage you to set up or find a quiet place to read and study without distractions. When you're doing online courses, of course, you're doing all of your work in your home environment where there are just tons of distractions, kids and dogs and partners and laundry to be folded. So try to set up a space for yourself where that you don't have those distractions, where all you need to do is focus on your work. And I always think the library is a great place to go to get away and be able to just focus without those distractions. Do check in on D2L regularly for announcements and updates. And in fact, all of your professors can see if you are checking in on D2L in their course. We see the last time that you looked, the most recent time that you checked in. Occasionally, if I see a student has, not been in a D2L for 2 or 3 weeks in my course, I may message you and just say, hey, is everything okay? Are you struggling with anything? So just try to stay, kind of plugged into D2L. Set aside some specific times for this asynchronous course when you will be in class. So with your Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday classes, you've got time set aside. You're going to be there in class for 2 or 3 hours, whatever is designated, and that helps you really focus on that content. For asynchronous courses, you're going to have to create that experience for yourself. And whether you split it over the week, 3 1-hour blocks, 2 90-minute blocks, or 1 3-hour block, whatever works for you, just put some time aside. And, it's not, a lot of the work is not really stuff you can just fit in 10 minutes here and there. If you've got to read a chapter, you've really got to sit and read that chapter and focus on it and make notes and, highlight the important concepts. So really try to put that time aside if you can. And set up a planning system with all of your due dates for the semester. In my course, I provided you with a list of the due dates. I don't know if the other professors do that, but somewhere in all of the materials they give you, you will see the due dates for their assignments. So I really encourage you to get your planner out now, go through the whole semester and note every week where there are assignments that are due. And that way you can see if you have a week where, gee, I got 2 papers and a test that week. Maybe that's not a week to make big plans to do something with your family or to take a week and go on a trip or whatever. So just try to set something up that is a good visual reminder. It doesn't matter whether it's a paper system or a digital system, it's something where you keep all of your deadlines in one place so you can see what's coming. Now, let me just stop for a second here and check and see if there's anything in the chat. Any questions at all, or is anybody wanting to raise their hand? No? Okay. So some other important tips, just try to work ahead as much as you can. It's easier said than done. I know by the end of this week, you'll probably feel like, oh my gosh, my head's going to blow up. How am I going to do all of this? Just get yourself organized. Ask for extensions when you need them, but do have a catch-up plan in place. I will tell you, I'm very flexible about extensions. I just ask that you let me know in advance if you need an extension. You know when the date is coming if you're not going to make it. So I never say no. I don't need a big explanation as to why you need an extension. But just let me know in advance and then have a plan for, when am I going to get this done? And I will ask you to give me a date. Students will sometimes say, when do you need it? Well, I don't really need it any specific time. When can you get it done? And just be aware that, as you ask for extensions, things can kind of start to get a little backed up, right? So again, you just need to have a catch-up plan in place. Manage your anxiety and your stress. And some of you have, already said you're feeling anxious about starting the program, and ask for help if you need it. All of us, all of your professors, we want you to succeed. And there are very, very good resources available to support you. We have counseling, we have tutoring, we have accessibility services. And so all of that's available to you. And unfortunately for orientation, the counseling services and accessibility, for some reason, did not come. And that's unfortunate because they really offer really great services. So please, check those out. Look on the website. You'll see that's available to you. Accessibility services are for people who have different kinds of learning challenges or disabilities that may, get in the way of succeeding in their studies. So if that's something that you would need some support with something, please do contact accessibility services. Please get the textbook right away. If you don't already have it, I have posted the information on D2L about how to get the textbook. And it's up to you if you would like to get the electronic version. It has lots of extra features. We're not using those features, but you might find it helpful to have those available to you to learn the concepts. You can order a new hard copy from the publisher at the link that I've provided on D2L, but you can also buy used copies from Amazon, and I think they're considerably less if you want a hard copy. Just make sure you get the 6th edition. There are earlier versions of it, and they're not exactly the same. Plan for crunch times towards the end of the semester. Yes, things are going to start to build up, so just, plan for that. Clear the decks as best you can. And I've already mentioned the weekly messages and syllabus. Use those as your guide for what you need to do, kind of like your to-do list for the week. Just a few other important points here. we always set norms, not just for the course, but for the program. So in your synchronous classes this week, in at least one of those classes, you will do what's called creating norms. And these are guidelines for the class environment and for student interactions. So things like respect for all opinions, supporting each other, and so on. And by the way, these are the same guidelines you will be expected to follow under the ethical codes for career development practitioners. So when you set these norms up in any class, these same norms will apply to all of your courses, including ones like mine that are asynchronous. So no bullying or trolling, expressing opinions in respectful language, respecting others' points of view, realizing this is not Facebook. We're in an educational environment where we want to support everybody's learning and we want everyone to feel included and to feel safe. Some other important notes and policies. There will be things to do every week in the course, even if you don't have an assignment due. Already talked about the syllabus and getting assignments done early. When you are submitting assignments, please be sure to specify the course title and the assignment and provide a date on which you will submit the assignment if you're asking for extensions. Note the date that you have chosen for an extension. I don't keep track of those, uh, so I can't send reminders out and say, "Oh, just a reminder, your assignment was due tomorrow." So please do keep track of that. Oh boy, some important things here. Save backup copies of all your assignments. Less and less things disappear, but you just never know. Uh, there's so many places where things get saved, the cloud and OneDrive, and who knows where else they go. So always make sure you save backup copies of all assignments. When I've done a really big document for something that's really important to me and I sure wouldn't want to have to recreate it, quite often I email it to myself because I know I can always retrieve it from my email. For assignments in my course, please create and submit them only as Word documents unless otherwise stated. Do not lock or password protect your files because then I can't insert feedback. Please don't send them to me as a PDF or anything like that because I don't have the full software. It might be old school, but when I get them as a Word file, then I can go in and insert my feedback on each one of those. So just send it to me as a Word file. Don't password protect it or send it as a PDF. Just check the instructions for submissions. Some assignments get posted on discussion boards. Others are submitted by email through D2L, but please don't do both. Sometimes students will post on the discussion board, which is great, and then they'll send it to me by email, and I really don't need it that way. So just follow the instructions and just do it once. And please don't upload your assignments to other servers like Dropbox or Google Docs, because then I have to log in and download them and so on. Everything will get submitted through D2L. When you're saving your assignment files, please do that with your name and a brief word or two indicating the assignment. I get a ton of assignments from students, and if every one of them says my assignment, and I have to try and find a particular student's file, that's going to be challenging. So just put something in with your name and the assignment, D. Moore, case study 1, and then I'll be able to download it and save it easily. And I've already talked about just using my George Brown email. So before I get into this lovely topic of plagiarism, any questions at this point? Oh, and yes, Michelle, you mentioned the WhatsApp group, which I think you set that up, Michelle, didn't you? Or somebody did at the orientation the other night.
Yeah, it was me.
Uh, oh, okay, great. Thank you for doing that. Deanna, you're asking about how to get in there, and I guess Michelle or somebody will support you in doing that. I know in previous years, every year students have created usually a WhatsApp group, and people have found it very helpful. But it is optional. If you're really not a joiner and you just really don't want to get into doing that, one more thing you have to check. Then you can forego doing that if you like. Sonia Lee, you have a question?
Yeah, just for managing our time every week, how do you anticipate we'll spend most of our time, working on, things for the class? So will it be most of our time will be spent with the textbook, or will the textbook be a small part of it and we should expect a lot of other things? Yeah.
In my course,
Yeah.
okay, in my course specifically,
Yeah.
yes,
In your
we'll be
course specific.
doing
Yeah.
Yeah, you will be doing a fair amount of reading from the textbook.
Okay.
And I've supplemented each chapter with a short video that really highlights the concepts for each chapter. Now, you don't necessarily have to watch the video lecture, but you should read the chapter. I would not skip the chapter and then just watch the lecture video. The chapters give you much more detail, much more context. They give you examples, case examples to illustrate things. But you can use the lecture videos to highlight the most important concepts that you need to take out of the chapter.
Right.
And it's actually helpful that I do post the PowerPoints that go along with those lecture videos. And what you can do is look at the notes view of the PowerPoint. You can download the PowerPoint, look at the notes views, and then you can copy all of those notes and use them as study notes because those are the highlights. Those are the key
Sure.
concepts that you need to know, right?
Sure.
So there's a couple of different ways that you will, interact with the course material, but it does rely heavily on reading that textbook. I find the material in the textbook really interesting, but that's
Yeah.
me. There's a lot there, but I love
Same.
theories and I just find it really interesting. It's
I
good
read the first two
information.
chapters on the weekend, but like I'm not gonna lie,
Right.
it took me some time to get through it. I think also the first one, it's sort of like, what is this? And it's totally new. And I hope that, a few chapters in, once we see connections to the other chapters, it'll go more easily. But the first two chapters like took a long time, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
And
okay.
if you've been out of the swing of, reading for courses, it's natural that it takes a little while to get back into it.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do to supplement, not in place of reading the chapter,
Hmm.
is you can also go to ChatGPT and tell it which theorist, you're reading about and ask it to give you a synopsis of
Right.
the key ideas, the key concepts. That's another great way to just extract the key things out of each chapter. So between
Okay.
that and the PowerPoint, that should really guide you to some of the main ideas that you need to retain so that you know them not just when you do the test, but you know them when you're actually out there, working in the field with clients.
Okay. That's good advice.
Okay,
Thank you.
great question. Okay, so there's been some discussion in the chat about getting into that WhatsApp group, and Michelle, thanks for providing that link. And Michelle has offered to stay behind after the class if anybody needs help. I can leave the Zoom room open for you for a little while if you would like to do that. Okay, if anybody needs help, and Michelle will assist you with that. All right, so let's go back to the PowerPoint and my least favorite topic to talk about, which is plagiarism. Dun dun dun. I think I don't a long time ago there was these old movies, black and white movies, where the villain would come in and they'd play this really, discordant music that told you there was a villain in the room. So I kind of hear that every time I start talking about plagiarism. Plagiarism is considered a serious academic violation. It also violates the ethical codes you're expected to follow as a CDP. So, of course, I'm sure everybody knows it refers to copying ideas, images, text, and so on from another source and presenting them as your own without acknowledging where you got them from or providing citations for your sources. This includes any and all uses of ChatGPT or AI platforms. Now, I know I just mentioned ChatGPT, but I'll make a distinction about that in just a moment. So, in other words, when a student plagiarizes, it means they're pretending they did the work themselves when they didn't. And it means that then I'm marking someone else's work, not the students. It's just such a big loss all around when a student plagiarizes. So here are the consequences when a student is discovered to plagiarize. A student receives a mark of 0 on the assignment containing the plagiarized material. This is regardless of how much is plagiarized. As soon as I could be on page 1 and I see a whole paragraph that I suspect is plagiarized, and I go and check it, and I find it on a website, let's say, I stop reading right there, and there's a 0 assigned to the assignment, and there's no opportunities to rewrite the assignment. Now, sometimes we may give an alternate assignment to do. It'll depend on whether that's happened before with the student. Now, when plagiarism is detected in any student's work, we are required under college policy to report it on the Academic Integrity Portal. This is the place where the college keeps track of all instances of plagiarism. When a record of plagiarism is created under a student's name on the portal, it stays there for 5 years. That's a really long time. Now, that doesn't go on your formal academic record. All right. So, if you've ever gone to get transcripts and whatever from another university or college, that kind of information would not appear on your transcript. Subsequent incidents may result in failing the entire course, and then after that, being temporarily suspended, and then after that, being expelled from the college. I've only ever twice, and I've been teaching a long time, got as far as A. Several times I've had to fail students who repeatedly plagiarized in courses they just couldn't seem to understand. They can't do that. Uh, I don't know of anybody who's ever been suspended or expelled, but I imagine it might have happened in other programs. And the harsh truth is that unfortunately, professors are unwilling to give references to students who have plagiarized when they begin to look for work. If someone has, plagiarized all through a program, then it says something about their work ethic. So please don't risk it. One of the worst, it's really the worst thing I have to do when I have to compose an email to a student and say, I found plagiarism in your assignment. As I'm writing that email, I know I'm just about to ruin their day. And it's just my least favorite thing of all the things I do as a professor. So these consequences can happen regardless of whether the plagiarism was intentional or accidental, and regardless of how much an assignment was plagiarized. Now, probably most, if not all of you, are taking the Trends course, and there is a module on plagiarism incorporated in that course, which includes a quiz. Now, if you're not taking the Trends course, please review the plagiarism material that I posted on the Theories course platform. Some people are doing more of a part-time approach. Or maybe they've gotten an exemption, maybe they've done a Trends course somewhere else. So please ensure that you do look at that plagiarism material. And you're expected to know and understand what plagiarism is and how to avoid it for the entire academic year. We do use plagiarism checkers to scan assignments. We have something called Turnitin on D2L, and we may use this if we suspect plagiarism has occurred, or we may just do random spot checks. We may just lift a paragraph out of a paper and plug it into a search engine and see if it comes up somewhere else. And let me just say, I'm going to stop there for a second. It looks like I've taken out the slide. I think because we covered some of this in orientation the other day, I took out the bit on use of AI. So what you need to know is that there are two different types of AI, like two different types of ChatGPT. There's what's called generative and what's called assistive. So assistive means that you might just use it to check your grammar and spelling. Assistive is you might use it to explain a concept that you don't quite understand, or that you might, be reading in one of the chapters in the textbook and it's a lot of information and you would like a synopsis. So you might say, give me a summary of the key ideas in work adjustment theory, right? And that's okay. That's all assistive. What you can't do is copy that information into your paper. That's generative, when you allow the AI platform to generate your work. So generative means that you would take a question from an essay, let's say, plug it into ChatGPT and say, write me, 300 words to respond to this question. That's generative, and that is considered plagiarism. Okay, so you can use things like ChatGPT to help you in an assistive way. It's fine with me if you use it. Now, other professors may have other opinions, but it's fine with me if you use it to check your grammar and spelling. It's fine with me if you're using it to summarize ideas to help you, as long as you're not actually using it to write your ideas, right? Does that make sense? The distinction is reasonably clear? Okay. All right. Uh, so Deanna, you were asking about APA or MLA. Yes, we use APA style in most of our course. Certainly, I use APA style in my course, and I think the other professors do too. Generally, that's what we use. I think under the plagiarism resources on the theories course, there's a link to the library, and it shows you, they've got a little video or tutorial or something that shows how to do APA style. So that's generally, what I'm looking for. And Michelle, you said if you can see React as a heart icon, the raise hand function is hidden there. Oh, yeah, under reactions, that's where you raise your hand. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. Any questions about any of that before I now do the big reveal and show you what the course is all about? And once we get through that, we'll be just about done. I think we'll probably be done a little bit early, depending on questions. Lorianne, you have some questions?
Yes. So, just a question about the AI, because I know people use Grammarly, and I do have that
Hmm,
on my Word doc. Would you consider that
sure.
assistive or generative?
No, that's assistive, as long as it's not actually writing the sentences for you, right?
Okay.
Thank you for asking that question. And I should have mentioned with Turnitin, when I enable it on the assignments, I believe that it will show you when you submit your assignment, or you have a way to check it before you actually submit it. And it'll show you a percentage of how much it seems to be similar to other sources. But there's something like that also in Word, in the Word documents. When you have a Word document open, there's a thing down the side, I think it's an editor, that you can check for similarity in online sources. There's a couple of different ways you can check that out. Okay.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
no, Grammarly's a pretty popular platform. It's been used quite a bit. Okay. All right. We're almost done. I'm going to actually tell you what the course is about. So, theories of career development, one of my favorite topics, really focuses on a range of theoretical frameworks, concepts, and tools commonly used in the field. You will find that many of the concepts that we're going to learn in this course will be referred to in your other courses. And link to a lot of the other concepts and frameworks that you're going to learn in other courses. So you'll find that this will give you a really good foundation, and it'll be information that you're going to refer back to quite regularly. D2L is organized with introductory materials, and then the weekly materials and tasks are all laid out from weeks 1 to 15. I have assignment instruction packages, and there'll be, I think I have, do I have the first assignment up now? Case study? I believe I do. I haven't done a video reviewing it yet, but I will. So I go through each of the instruction packages, and I just do a little video where I kind of narrate. Mostly I'm just repeating what's on the screen, but I'm adding just little tips and ideas and examples to help you be clear about what you're going to do for your assignments. So all of that's available under course assignments and due dates. The tests will be held synchronously in week 7 and 15, and I'll be providing instructions to you in advance for how to access and take the test. So we'll be doing those all together online on the designated dates. So here are the things you're going to be doing in the course for grades. First, you're going to be doing a case study, and sorry, that should just say case study. I had it originally in 2 parts, but I cut it down to just one case study for this semester. You can see the due date there, and all of these should correspond. Something is out of whack here. Oh no, that's right. All of these dates should correspond to the due dates on the document, the one-page document I've given you for the due dates for the course. The midterm test will happen on this date. It's worth 20%. You'll be doing an assignment resources repository. I'll tell you a little bit more about each of these in just a moment. Worth 10%. That's due on April the 5th. The major essay, 25%, is due, I think that's the end of week 13. Might be week 14. And then the final test, yeah, that's the end of week 14. The final test is held in week 15 were 20% on Monday, April the 20th. So let me just talk a little bit about, first I'm going to just talk about the tests. So I will also be doing some ad hoc synchronous sessions to help you prepare for the test. So please make a note of these dates. And these are optional again. I do just, different activities where you maybe break into groups and talk about concepts, or you do a little matching activity. I have all different types of activities I do in these sessions to help you prepare for the tests. So I hope that will be helpful to you, especially if you've been out of school for a while and it's understandable the idea of doing a test might make you feel a little bit anxious. So these test prep sessions will hopefully help you feel more confident as you go into the tests. And these sessions are optional and will be recorded if you can't attend in real time. And again, I've given you the dates for the tests that'll be done synchronously using Lockdown Browser. What's important is that you must be present and on camera for the duration of the test on the dates that I've given you. Please mark down those dates to ensure that you are available. If you really can't make it, if you've got some kind of somebody's having surgery and you don't have any choice, let me know. But please try to be present on those dates if you can. Now, if you're registered with accessibility services because you have a challenge or a disability, you might opt to have your test on a different day or time through their test center, but it must still be invigilated. It must still be proctored. Someone needs to be watching you while you're doing the test. Okay, now I've changed things up a little bit this semester, so I'm sorry if I'm jumping around a bit. Let me just talk a little bit about these other assignments. I thought I had a slide on each of these, but it looks like I don't. So for the case study, what you'll be doing there is it's done fairly early in the course. I forget which theories we're going to be looking at, but I think it's mostly Parsons and work adjustment theory and Hollins and Supers. Those are sort of 4 foundation models. So you'll be presented with a case study, a description of a client, and then you'll be asked to apply some of the concepts from those theories to that case study. And as I said, I think pretty sure that the package is up now. And if you wanted to go and have a peek at that, you could. The resources repository assignment is a new one that I've just added. And this will be where you will look up good resources that you can use to help clients make decisions, get information about the labor market, explore something might be an assessment tool that you find online. So you're going to find some resources that would be useful to use with clients that seem to fit with some of the theories. And when that assignment package is up, it'll explain a little bit more clearly what that's about. The major essay is kind of neat. It's easy for me to say because I don't have to write it. But what you get to do there is to pick one of the theories that we have covered in the course that you like, that you feel is really applied to you. Maybe as you're reading about Holland's theory of types, you think, oh, now I understand why I really didn't like that job or I loved that job. So as you're going through the different theories and you're reading about them, make a note of one in particular that you feel really seems to kind of fit for you. You really like it and think it reflects a lot of your own experiences. That's what you'll be analyzing in that final essay. And so that's what those assignments will be about. And then they'll be supplemented with the midterm and the final test. Okay, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. And I'm wondering what questions you might still have for me. Carmen, how long will the tests be? 1 or 2 hours? I think they're both 90 minutes, but I think that is more, if my recollection is correct, it's more than enough time. I've never had anybody say that they've run out of time on the test, but I'll have to confirm that. I think they're each 90 minutes long. So Hina, you've got a question, and then Jessica, I'll come to you in a second. Hina, you've got
Yeah,
a question?
thank you so much, Diana, for this wonderful presentation. I think this is more than informative, and I feel like now I'm gonna, because I feel so confused. But yeah, now I feel like some things are sorted. But yeah, my question is regarding the, sorry, midterm tests. How it's gonna look like during that test, the midterm test actually.
Both of the tests are multiple choice format. Is
Okay.
that
Okay.
what you're asking?
Yeah, the midterm
One,
test gonna looks like multiple choice. That's what you said, right?
yeah,
Oh,
both of them are multiple
more.
choice.
Okay, awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
The final test actually is also multiple choice, but it is based on a case study, which you'll be able to read in advance.
Okay.
So you'll be able to read the case study weeks in advance if you want to, and then you're going to be asked some specific questions that relate to the theories
Yeah.
in the
Thank you
actual
so
test.
much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Jessica, you have a question?
Yeah, I just have a quick question about Lockdown Browser, which is what we're gonna do our test on.
Mhm.
So I've used Lockdown Browser, but I've never done a test with my camera on. So I was just wondering, like, when we, launch the test, is it gonna be set up for us where our cameras will be on, or is it something we have to do on our
Mhm.
end?
No, it should all automatically. I've never used it before, so I'm going to kind of experiment with it.
Okay.
But we've been asked to start using Lockdown Browser a little bit more for our tests, so I'm incorporating that this semester. So the short answer is I think it should just be all automatic for you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Other questions? Oh, Carmen, you were wondering about the ad hoc practice sessions, like the review sessions,
Yes,
the test prep sessions. Is that what you're asking
that's
about,
right.
Carmen? Okay, so normally those are most of the ad hoc sessions I aim for 90 minutes. It feels like, we've been going since 5:30. It feels like we're just about done. It feels like 90 minutes is plenty of time, and that's how long they will be. Michelle?
Hey, Professor, thank you. Um, this is just a question to get to know you a bit better, actually. I think just I feel that you are so knowledgeable in this sector, and you say you really enjoy theories, and I feel like you could have taught so many others. So I know you kind of touched on it, but I would love to hear a bit more as to like what is it about the theories that you love so much?
Hmm. Well, I guess for one thing, it gives us a lot of different tools in our tool belt. Right. So when we're working with clients, I mean, just look at the variety we have just in this small group, the diversity that we have here. When you're working out in the field, you're going to have, and I know you've done some work in this field already, so you know that the groups are the people that you encounter that you serve are very diverse. And so one size does not fit all when it comes to understanding people's experiences and helping them to understand their experiences. So it gives you different frameworks, different ways to help clients understand what they're experiencing. It helps to normalize their experience if we have some kind of a process. For example, I love William Bridges' model of change, his theory of change. And I've used that quite a bit with people. And when I was working with doing direct client work, it just helps people to say, oh, yeah, that's what my experience is. And they don't feel so alone. They don't feel so strange because they're having, some of those unusual experiences. So that's one reason why I like it. It gives us different tools. I love assessment tools. I just really have a passion for them. I don't teach the assessments course anymore and I kind of miss it, but I really cut my teeth in the field. I was originally what was called a psychometrist many, many years ago. And I really love assessment tools. So a lot of the assessment tools are based in different types of theories. So I love to really see those theories become actualized and applied in a very concrete way for clients to learn about themselves and make good career decisions. So I love theories. I just find them really interesting. I hope that answers your question. Other questions that you have? Okay, well, I hope I haven't overwhelmed you with too much information this evening. You can always, I will try to upload the recording tonight. It just takes a little while sometimes for it to get rendered with YouTube. But if it's not available tonight, it'll be available tomorrow. And you can even just, look at the slides if you need a refresher of some of the points that I covered. And of course, you can email me anytime you want to if you have any questions at all. I really appreciate you giving me some of your time tonight. I wish you all the best over the next year. Remember that I'm here for you. I'm just on the other side of your computer screen. Anytime you need to reach out, just let me know. Now, I know that you're welcome, Deanna. I know that Michelle offered to stay behind if anybody needed help with the WhatsApp uh, getting into that group. Is anybody going to do that? Because I can leave the session running for a few more minutes. Anybody planning to stay behind for Michelle? No, it doesn't sound like it. Okay. All right. That's great. Thank you, Sonia Leave. It was great to see you here. You're welcome, Deanna. And thank you all for coming. And hopefully I'll see you all again before too long. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Professor.